All right. All right, let's get started. How's everyone doing? Come on, you guys. How are you guys doing? No, 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 no. Come on. All right. The third one. How are you guys doing? Good. There we go. Come on. I thought you'd be excited for this class. This is a class where you get to just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. It's kind of like on the airplane, right? What they say. We don't have snacks, unfortunately, but I think we should. Um, so, welcome back. How was the exam last week? Was it fair? Okay. Actually, everyone did really well, including the online students. What about the short answer? Enough time? Okay. It made me think a little bit beyond, right, what we had talked about. So, my goal is to get everything graded during spring break. I think I'm only one assignment behind, which is not too crazy. All my TAs are in this class, so I can have them grade your work. So I have to do them myself, which I love doing anyway. So, but I'm gonna get there, okay? I'm only one behind. So before we get started, which I'm very excited about today, what we're gonna cover, I do have a quick few announcements to go through with you. The first of them being the semester project. Did everyone look at this document? And I'm going to talk to this side of the room, which is mostly the graduate students and the undergraduate. For some reason, you just don't like each other. So this is graduate, that's undergraduate. Any questions on this? Did you guys even open this thing? Thank God you at least opened this thing. If I was a student, I'd be looking at this 25th of April, what I have to do in 3 days, right? So I know how it goes. So what do you have to do here? Who can tell me what you have to do? Anyone? What do you have to do? Okay. Now, some of you guys might have done a similar thing for a different class, residential, but this is a whole different market data that they're about to gather. Any questions on any of this? I don't want to go through each and every one of them, but I do want to cover a little bit of the highlights is, don't spend too much time on number 3. I'm not interested in your logo, but it just got to look somewhat decent, okay? Because logo is important. But we are not actually creating a company, so I'm okay you guys just making something quick on your PowerPoint or some kind of a free software, okay? Anyone have any questions on how to get some of the data that I'm asking for? A lot of Google. And a lot of reading analysis, reading some of the population growth, understanding what developments are coming up, okay? So any questions on what you have to do on those 14 things? Now, when you come up with a business plan, the content's important, I get it. But what's even more important is how that content is presented. Okay, so that's what we have to do. So there's a grading criteria at the bottom. I think I've given you, right? Okay, so that should tell you how I'm gonna grade your assignment, okay? Now, groups of 4 students, okay? You have to have 2 to 4 students. You're not gonna work on this on your own, okay? You're gonna find and partner a max of 4 for both undergraduate and graduate. And if you know people from online section, feel free to collaborate with the online section. I'm okay with that. Because to me, all the classes are the same, online and live or here, okay? Now, for graduate students, this is a big one. What does it say? Commercial. Okay, so your focus is gonna be on commercial, forming a commercial roofing company, okay? And all the things that I'm asking for, our guest speakers should have covered this in some point during their lecture, right? So nothing on this should be, that we haven't talked about to a certain extent. Now, if you look at your assignments so far this semester, it kind of goes along with this as well, right? But the big differentiator between the assignment and the semester project is the assignment kind of asks for your approach on how you might do it. But the semester project is actually doing it. Does that make sense? So those assignments that you did should help you in creating your portfolio. Okay, that was the whole goal to begin with. So you shouldn't have to start everything from scratch. Okay, it's just a different mindset it takes from when you're a project manager versus a business owner. So we're going a little bit towards a business owner perspective in this class. Good? Okay. Your due date is going to be April 28. That's your final report and oral presentation. A lot of students come ask me, there's no other deliverables? And my answer is no. No, there's no other deliverables. Now that doesn't mean you can come to my office, say April 15th, and show me what you have and see, am I headed the right way? You can always do that. Okay? But I don't have any other deliverables. To me, you guys are adults. When you're in the industry, no one's going to tell you, when are you going to have this specific task done. It's the deadline and you have to do it by then. And you manage your own time on how you want to do it. Students who work the last 2 days of the project versus who has worked over 4 or 5 weeks, I can tell. It's just clear. So make sure you spend some time on this. I can also tell when one student does that section, one student does that section, one student does this section, and you submit it as is, like import from Google Documents, and here you go, I can tell. I'm not looking for individual sections in that report. I'm looking for a company, okay? So just be mindful of those things. Does that make sense? Okay. Now quickly going off of the undergraduate, I think this is more of a fun one for undergraduate. Because what do you have to do here, undergraduates? Residential, okay? So your collection of the market data is going to be completely different than the commercial side, because that's going to be a little bit more, not complicated, but it's going to be a little bit more tedious. Okay, now for the residential, it's going to be not as tedious of a plan, I think. Okay, now that doesn't mean it's not important. Both industries are very important, but I think theirs is just a little bit more tedious because you're a graduate and yours is a little bit more of manageable. Does that make sense? You do have less requirements. I'm not asking you to do everything. You only have about 12 and they have about 15 or 16 to do. If you follow step-by-step bullet points and do the work you're supposed to do, you'll be okay. Teams of 4. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Well, I'm done teaching for today. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, first of all, before we get started, I do want to, tell you, because I know some of you guys have come up and seen this, but I do have some products, and I think those by demand that for online students, I'm sorry I can't do this, but if you're on campus, feel free to stop by. I'll show you these samples. But for people who are in class, here's all the different samples that we have. This is your tile. This is your metal slate. This is your actual slate. This is your either rubber or plastic slate. I can't tell what it is, but either one of those. This is your shingle samples. This is your wood shakes, and these are your laminated asphalt shingles that you normally see on your roofs for residential houses today. Okay, so feel free to look at these anytime between now and 4:30. Of course, don't just get up in the middle when they're speaking and just show up. I mean, you can, I guess, but let's not do that. Okay. So, what is next week? What are we covering after spring break? There we go. No one looks at the syllabus except for when the spring break is. The first thing you do is like, when's the spring break coming up so I can plan my vacation, right? So next week is spring break, so don't show up. I'll be here if you want to come stop by my office, but please don't show up. After spring break, we're going to take that turn I was telling you and go more into the other aspects of the industry, manufacture, distribution, and some of the technicalities that we talked about. My plan is to go through asphalt shingles, built-up roofs, modified bitumen, single ply, and metal roofs after guest speakers done to kind of give you some kind of a background how they're installed. I'll cover safety and maintenance in one of those lectures. So after spring break, those 4 lectures will, I'll come in afterwards and give you guys some education on that as well. Okay? Any questions? All right. So I'm very excited about today. The reason why is we have 2 different perspectives in the roofing industry that we're going to be hearing on the topic of sales and marketing. Now, sales and marketing does sound kind of a little bit like, well, what do we have to do with it? I mean, I'm going to be a project manager or a superintendent. Why sales and marketing? And the guest speakers are going to convince you that the moment you step foot in that office to how you conduct yourself when you're not in the office, you're marketing and selling all the time. So I think the mindset that we need to have is you're marketing your company and you're selling yourself and your projects all the time. So we're going to have a little bit of a change in mindset here as to what actually sales and marketing is. It's not what you think it is. We only know one dimensional, but you're going to have an experience with these guest speakers. We're going to tell you what actually that means. Okay. So we have Heidi, and please give a round of applause for Heidi. So, and we also have Karen online. So Karen and Heidi are gonna, collaboratively do this together. And I say clap for Heidi because you know where she comes from? Oregon. You know how long of a flight that is? How 8 hours? So she flew 6 hours just to talk to us here in this class, right? 6 hours of flying time to talk to you guys. Okay, the industry is very committed. Okay, so pay attention. Ask a lot of questions. Heidi, I think I'll let Heidi tell you what she gave you, but she's one of the experts in the roofing industry, her and Karen, when it comes to sales and marketing. They actually teach people in the industry how to do it. So we have the best of the best, like we always do. Then we have another best of the best, which is Mark Standifer. Mark, where did you come from?
I come from King of Texas Roofing.
So where are they based at? Texas. So Mark flew all the way from Dallas just to be with us in this class as well, to teach you. Now, Mark has a unique perspective. I told you guys that I'm going to bring someone, not from the leadership or, the CEO kind of level. Not that Mark is not, but Mark is going to be an amazing asset on the field side of things, on how he does sales and marketing on the field perspective. So he's a project manager, been in the industry for a long time. And if there's anyone you want to talk about the roofing industry and what happens on the actual field, Mark is an expert to go to. So Mark comes all the way from Dallas, Texas. So what we're going to do is Mark's going to go first, and ask Mark a lot of questions. He knows everything.
If I don't, my brother does. He's not here today.
So he's going to give you a cell phone afterwards. You can call him. And then Heidi and Karen are going to come up right afterwards and going to compliment what Mark's going to talk about. Okay? And then we'll see where this goes. I don't know how it goes, right? Because I don't know what they're going to say. So let's see how this goes.
Put on everybody's desk. A little flyer like this. You look on here. It's called Sales Truth on one side.
I'm not going to hear you. The online students.
It's called Sales Truth on one side. This looks complicated. On the other side, here's the idea room. That'll work. We're not going to talk about this, but look at this, study this, think about it. Okay, you're going to be in sales. All right. I don't care if you're an estimator or a project manager, you're going to be in sales. Okay, who am I? I'm Mark Standifer. I'm a 1985 graduate from Texas A&M with a degree in building construction. When I graduated, I went to work for one of the steep slope, high-rise, standing seam metal roof specialists in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We specialized in, when I say steep slope, 24 and 12, 18 and 12. All right, your installers are basically half mountain goat to get them up there. All right. I've got a couple of questions to ask real quick. Who has a relative in the construction business? Just raise your hand. Great. How many of those relatives are subcontractors? Bummer. Who speaks Spanish? You do? You do? Work on it some more. When you get to a job site, Spanish is the primary language on the job site. English will be the primary language in the job shack. But on the job site, it's going to be Spanish. All right? Y'all are talking about roofing. Real quick, you're going to be marketing yourself. Excuse me. You're going to be marketing yourself while you're here at school. Join any school construction organization. One more time. This is complicated. You didn't tell me I was going to have to think when I did this.
I can do it for you.
That's all right. Join a student organization, AGC, ABC, National Association of Home Builders. While you're there, get to know the juniors and seniors. Anybody who's up in front of you and is going to graduate, that may be the guy you're selling a roof to. All right? Learn those people. Figure out who they are, especially if you know they're going to go work for a GC. All right? when you graduate, join the professional organizations. Roofing, NRCA. This one right here is very popular in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Subcontractors Association of the Metroplex. We have monthly meetings where we go talk dirt about the general contractors. Carry your business cards everywhere you go, all right? I carry my business cards everywhere I go. Worked out one day, I gave a card to a guy, ended up doing a roof for him, all right? This was at a convenience store, all right, where he got my card. Get off the computer and on the phone, all right? This is a people business, folks, all right? I don't care how computer savvy you are, you're going to be involved in face-to-face meetings with people. It's a people business. Get to know them, be friendly, all right? Keep your appointments. You make an appointment, I'm going to be there at 2 o'clock. Traffic is bad, you're not going to make it. Call them up because they've set aside time for you in their busy day to see you and talk to you. If you're running late, tell them, hey, I'm running late, but I am headed your way. If they can't make that meeting because you're running late, reset it. Set it up again. Why? Everybody together? Okay. Follow up your appointment, your meeting with an email. Reiterate the discussion and any issues. Tell the person thank you for their time. All right? While you're there, here, trying to sell your job, ask the man for the job. Or ask the young lady for the job. Hey, is this my roof? Have I sold you this roof? The term I like to use, because I'm from Texas and I run into a lot of my classmates, I said, are we going to make medicine? Which is an Indian tradesman term of, have we got an agreement here? All right? Follow up. When you have any issues on the job site, follow those up too. Okay, when you get there. If there's a problem and y'all have figured out how to correct it, follow it up with an email and make sure everybody you were talking to at that meeting understands this is the problem, this is how we're fixing it. Marketing yourself and your company. Take up an outdoor activity that your clients might enjoy. I don't golf. I see no point in chasing a little white ball to put it in a little hole, pick it up and hit it again. All right? I shoot sporting clays. More pictures. Wear something with a company logo on it. Ta-da. All right. No one is wearing anything. There we are. Stand up. Let's see your shirt. Marketing. It says Clemson on that shirt. You're wearing a shirt that says Tri-County. Marketing. Yours says Givenchy. Marketing. All right. Dole out the company swag. Your professor back here has a King of Texas cap that he got today. By the way, this is my second time here at Clemson. I am from Texas. I'm an Aggie. I prefer this color orange as opposed to the burnt orange I see down in Austin, okay? Job site marketing. You sell a commercial roof job, you're going to have a pre-construction meeting, all right? At that meeting, you're going to talk about scheduling, any issues that might crop up, who's picking up the wood blocking, who's not picking up the wood blocking, do we have the right panel profile, anything like that. Are you meeting the customer's expectations? I showed y'all some pictures of a job I did where we used a 12-inch wide wall panel or roof panel as a wall. The architect and the customer were trying to stick a 12 3/4-inch wide panel, two of them, into a 24-inch wide space. I'm an Aggie, and my math tells me that's not going to work, okay? So I sold them on using a 12-inch wide panel, all right? Just a little math problem. Meet the customer's expectations. If you can't, offer them another alternate, offer them an idea, give them something to think about. Right here. Good, poor job safety. We just finished up a safety evaluation on a job site up in Dallas for Hill and Wilkinson. Their safety director came by. Everybody on our crew was wearing their vest, their fall protection gear, their hard hat. It all had King of Texas logo on it. We were graded 100. Okay? That information trickles back to the general contractor. You have poor job site safety, that information trickles back to the estimators, all right, and the other project managers. Because if you got poor job site safety, they don't want you on the job. They don't need it, all right? Nobody wants OSHA walking around their job site on a regular basis. And by the way, if somebody falls on a job and they die, it's a 6-week automatic shutdown. So what that means is the crews you had scheduled to do that work, now you got to scramble and find something for them to do. Plus, it all trickles down to everybody working inside the building. The whole job is shut down while OSHA does an investigation. That's poor job safety. Good job safety will get you more work and a good reputation. I was telling your professor, we were awarded 4 contracts last week for jobs we never bid, strictly because the owner likes the work we do on his other buildings, and we have a great safety record. So we had 4 jobs on the books with no price tag on them because we hadn't priced them yet. They're being done this week. Field conduct. You can't have, if I drop a term nobody likes, I'm sorry. You can't have a bunch of people out there playing grab ass. All right? For starters, it's unsafe. All right? Also, the superintendent for that general contractor, he doesn't like it. And when your people are doing that, that means they're not installing roofing. All right? My boss doesn't put up with it. Neither do our project managers, neither does our safety director. That's the fastest way to get written up, is fooling around on the job site. That and not wearing your safety gear. Job site communications, internal and external. Internal, you and your people in the field, you and your boss, you and your project manager, you and your field manager that you're dealing with. Are there any problems? Constant communication back and forth. Hey, Mark, I think we're missing one skylight. No, we're not. It's packed over here. I don't think we got enough panels. Well, I ordered this many. How big's the roof? All right. Constant communication. External, with the general contractor and his people, not just the ones in the job shack, but if you've got a problem and can't solve it there, you may have to talk to somebody in the office. This is constant. All right. You're going to be dealing with the superintendent on a daily basis. He's going to know, have you turned in your JHA? Or do you have enough people here to do the work? Have you got water on the roof? Are your people protected? All right. The company I work for in the summertime, on our roofs, we actually install a shade tent on every roof. All right. And our people are under that shade tent every 2 to 2.5 hours for 15 to 20 minutes. And we force them to drink water, suck down that water, rehydrate. You're standing on a TPO roof. That's like out being snow skiing in the sun. There's a big reflection off that TPO. All right. It's very hot and it'll blister you real easy. Constant communication with the superintendent, project managers, and their project engineer, especially when you're doing submittals. All right. Make sure if they've got a question about your submittals, answer it promptly. All right. Don't wait a day or two unless you've got to look up an answer. All right. But other than that, answer it quickly. Roof follow-up. Your roof is complete. Call the manufacturer. Set up the inspection. Get that inspection set up. Get your superintendent. Let him know when the inspection is taking place so they can send a 2-man repair crew out there. Then any flaws in that roof, you fix them right there in front of their inspector. All right? When he issues his report, the general contractor gets a copy of it. They also make a little note on there because he's seen you correct everything. He puts on there corrected. All right? And he takes pictures. Very important. All right? And it's not just the manufacturer's warranty, it's your warranty too. You're going to send them a two-year, I call it a mechanic's warranty. It's the installer's warranty. All right? I'm doing a little job right now. Because the size of it, they will not get a roof warranty from the manufacturer. The roof manufacturer, I mean, literally 96 square feet for a TPO roof. They're not going to give me a manufacturer's. So on that particular job, they're going to get a 3-year mechanic's warranty from us. All right. It's small enough that should something bad happen, I can go out there and re-roof this thing in 2 days. Real quick, any questions? Oh, come on, man. Real quick, I was going to talk about how you need a dress to go visit somebody. I'm going to pick on you real quick. Please stand up. Don't go to a general contractor's office looking like this, please. All right. Don't hit the job site looking like this. Shorts are always against the rules, safety rules at a job site. You'll also find out baggy jeans are unsafe at a job site. You'll see guys who have a belt hanging down to here, very unsafe. There's too much equipment that can grab that belt. All right. Who had the question? You did. Yes, sir.
I was going to ask how you got into contractor, out of college, rather than going like a general contractor.
Going to A&M, my education was geared to go work for a general contractor. You're very correct in that. When I graduated, I went to a job fair. I had 5 interviews, and I got 4 job offers. All right. I believe some of those job offers were due to the fact that I was married. And thank you for the question. I was married, but the man I went to work for, Metal Systems, was a subcontractor. He'd never hired a college student, but I had drafting skills, and there was only one other guy at the office that had drafting skills because even today, we don't have a CAD draftsman where I work. I draw all my own roof plans when I do submittals. All right? Yes, sir.
Do you know Spanish?
Poquito. Una poquito. I can get us in trouble in Spanish, and I can get us a beer and a tequila. All right? I can't get us out of trouble. All right? I do know some Spanish. I can put a smile on any Spanish girl's face real easy. Yeah.
You ever thought about starting your own roof company?
Yes.
Why not?
The wife said, hell no. It takes a lot of money because if I had started when I would have been in the standing seam business. And what I know about being a subcontractor, the subcontractors I work for, we don't use subs. We don't sub out our work to somebody else to install it unless they've got the proper insurance. You hire somebody to come and be a subcontractor and install whatever for you and they're not insured, somebody falls or gets injured some way, you run the risk of losing your company. All right? Or the general contractor runs the risk of being sued. All right? So keep up with your insurance. Y'all were talking about logos. Look on the back of my business card. Pretty easy enough, right? All right, and you see the front of the card looks like the logo on my chest.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, you don't get a cap.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'll tell you what happens.
Yeah.
One of the things that we always, that I always want to do is, we get so entangled into our daily work that we forget that other people are watching us constantly.
Yes.
Especially, when you're wearing a company shirt on the clock and off the clock. Everyone's watching you, how you behave, how you interact.
You represent the company.
So can you talk a little bit about, for example, cleanliness on the job site? Is cleanliness on the job site sales and marketing strategy?
Yes. You don't get a lot of visitors to your roof, okay? But nobody wants to go up on top of a TPO roof and see all your scraps spread out everywhere, all right? Indicates a dirty roof. They also don't want to see any adhesives smeared all over everything. Makes for a dirty roof. Where I work at King of Texas, at the end of every day, all the loose material that's trash, be it insulation, adhesives, tools, TPO, goes in a garbage bag. At the end of the week, we bring all the garbage bags down. We may bring them down daily. All right, if it's a large enough roof, you may see us filling up garbage bags at lunch and then in the afternoon. All right, you can go to our website, www.kingoftexas.com, and you'll see some of our people up there working on some roofs. Somebody else had a question? Yes, sir.
Do you have any general safety requirements other than, or in addition to the requirements in roofs?
Yes. The first one is if you fall and you're not wearing your hard hat, you were fired before you hit the ground. No, that's, yeah. Our safety director is very strict about always wearing your fall protection, always wearing your boots. Okay, now being a roofer, we let our people wear their boots from the truck to the roof. When they get on the roof, they slip into tennis shoes. Okay, because your boots tend to pick up all kinds of rocks, gravel, stuff like that, and you can scar up a PVC or a TPO roof. All right, just pick up debris. Plus, roofs can be kind of slick. Tennis shoes don't get so slick as opposed to boots. Good question. Yes, sir.
I have a question. Like insurance, so let's say if you're working with under a general contractor, so in that case, the insurance is covered by subcontractor or general contractor. Versus when you're working on a repairs, roof repair job, where you're directly contacted with the client.
When we use a subcontractor, he's under our umbrella, our insurance umbrella. I give you, you're the subcontractor, I need to do some roof. You give me a price, I tell you, you need to add this much money in there to cover the insurance, because you're just telling me what it's going to cost for you to do it. So we add a little more to cover the insurance, and then we take that out of your checks to cover the insurance for your people. Good question. Yes, ma'am.
What would you say you do differently when you're marketing the residential roofing business and commercial roofing, apart from the client or the area where you
Good question. Well, where I'm from, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a residential roofer. Okay, they're everywhere. And a lot of them are pickup truck guys. We call them tail light warranties. When the tail light disappears, there went your warranty. Okay. Also, where I live in Texas, when storms come through, we have a lot of gypsy roofers come through, residential roofers. There are a lot of homeowners associations, gated communities. They don't let them in. You have to be a registered roofer inside that homeowners association before you roof anybody's house. And they vet those people very, very thoroughly. All right. I live in a little community between Dallas and Fort Worth called Bedford. We had some gypsy roofers come through several years ago, and they were taking money from people and never coming back, not even putting on a roof. So the city now has a mandate. You're going to be a roofer in our city. You have to apply to be a roofer in Bedford, Texas. And when you make those applications, you're actually given a little piece of paper that says you're allowed to work X number of months or whatever. They just don't let anybody in to do it. And it's stopped a lot of roofing problems where I live and work. To answer your question? And actually, I love commercial roofing. I love what I do in the standing seam business. Some of my jobs are the Bass Pro Shop in Grapevine, Texas. I did the Philopater Coptic Church in Richardson. That's a 60-foot diameter dome that was 6 stories in the air. If you were a relative of mine and you said, hey, Mark, show me the kind of work you do, we'd jump in my truck, and in 30 or 45 minutes, I can take you to 5 or 6 job sites of mine. And they're standing seam. You can see them. All right. That's what I like about it. I have some classmates who got in the highway business. I know for a fact that one of them has been working on I-35 since he graduated in 1985. Yeah. Now, the job shack he's working in is moving up and down I-35 in Texas. But he's been basically working on I-35 since he graduated. I like working for a subcontractor. It's kind of getting off the subject, but I look at a subcontractor as being a medical specialist, for lack of a better term. The general contractor is the general practitioner. But when I go to see my general practitioner and say, oh, I've got these horrible headaches, what have I got? And he goes, I have no idea. He sends you to a brain specialist. That guy gets more money than the general practitioner does. Okay? Same thing in subcontracting. There's more money in working for a subcontractor, and it is easier to start your own company. I will say this, when you go to work for somebody, if they want you to sign a contract, read it thoroughly, because there may be a no-compete clause in there. All right? So if you've been working there for 4 or 5 years and decide to go start your own business, and the first thing you do is steal one of his customers, shortly thereafter, you're in court. Okay? So look into that. I need 4 more questions. There we go. What do you got?
So, like we talked about the people on the side, they present themselves as a certain way in front of the clients. You also hold like any training session them, or like how do you train them to be a certain?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was telling your professor, I was on a job site in Fort Worth with Limbeck Construction. In the contract, it told you how your people had to dress, had to look nice, neat, no ripped jeans, didn't want to look slovenly. We were in downtown Fort Worth. There was a specific clause in there that said, no cat calls, no whistling at the women who walked the streets of Fort Worth. Okay? One day, a young man who was installing EFIS whistled at a young lady coming out of a restaurant. The man standing to the right of her was her boss who owned the building. The man on the other side of her was the project manager for the general contractor that was working on that building. That man looked at the project manager and said, don't know who did it. I want him fired from that company today. If he's not fired today, then you fire that company. So yeah, your conduct is a big deal. All right, a very big deal. And that guy got fired that day from that company. And they just flat told him, you don't work for us anymore. They took him back to the office at noon. That was his last day working there. Good question. Yes, sir. Beg pardon? Verbal communication. You do a good job for one GC. The GCs meet monthly too. And they talk dirt about the subcontractors that they're working with. All right. So if you're doing poor work for one GC, he's going to tell all the other GCs, oh, their safety is horrible. Their scheduling is horrible. You're doing a great job. That word gets out. Oh man, their safety's top notch. When they tell you they're going to be there, they're going to be there. They go above and beyond when they do the work. Yes, sir.
Is your business slow down much due to supply chain?
Yes, it has. Real quick, let me tell y'all what's going on. Firestone Building Products sold last year to Wholesome, a company out of Europe. Yeah, they are doing everything they can. Okay, they're having problems. All right. Currently, right now, we have been told by the other three major manufacturer suppliers, come the end of this month or about halfway into the next month, they will have reached 2022 capacity for manufacturing. We are predicting a construction slowdown in the Dallas-Fort Worth area come the last quarter, extending into the first quarter of 2023.
You said that's just like Dallas-Fort Worth, or is that like nationwide?
I think it's pretty much nationwide. I'm more familiar with the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I do know that it is really bad because last week I got a phone call from a competitor. He was looking for 50,000 TPO plates and fasteners. Everything showed up at the job but plates and fasteners. And without plates and fasteners, you're not doing any installation. Did you get a cap earlier? You got one now. Last one. We're going to talk, you already got a cap, but I'll come back to you. What do you got here?
I have a question about making business partners. So as a new roofing company, like one of the other company, how do you make business partners with another roofing company to help you to succeed in the market? Because you, as a new roofing company, will bring more risk to that company. So how do you?
That's a great question. And I'm a great example of that because the company I used to work for is called Metal Systems Incorporated. We started in Irving at the same time King of Texas did. Over the course of the years, we partnered up with them on several jobs where they would have a large TPO roof and needed some metal roofing done. I actually got a contract for the Euless Public Library, which is a huge barrel vault, but had a small amount of TPO. We contracted with King of Texas to do the TPO. So partner up with somebody you trust, all right? Check their insurance. The other deal is check their customers. Ask them, who have you worked for? All right. Who was the project manager? Call that man up. You know, did they do a good job for you? Was their safety spot on? You don't want to get hung up with somebody who's already got a horrible reputation. All right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you talked about very close, very low, or having your business cards very low. What online marketing strategies do you use and which platforms are you
I'm not so much involved in the online marketing, but if you go to our website, yeah, Heidi can talk about that more. But on our website, you will actually see a couple of our jobs, and my boss is talking about the work we do. All right, and actually, you'll see I'm on there with our intern. All right, we did a really nice job for Hill and Wilkinson, where we Rogers O'Brien, excuse me, where we did Bent Tree Country Club. We installed the clay tile, standing seam, and the TPO. And there's actually more square footage of clay tile than there was TPO and standing seam on the whole job. All right? Yes, sir, you. Right here. I'll come back to you in just a second.
So my question was, like, in a startup, you don't have this thing, like you haven't done any work which you can show off or any client will pay for anything. So in a startup, how do you get that first job? How do you market yourself in the first instance?
Knock on doors. Make phone calls. Call the general contractors you've done work with. If you're familiar with some architects, call them up. Say, hey, have you got a project that might have some of this on it that I need to be looking for? I'm running into the problem where I work. I don't see a lot of standing seam because it ended up on private jobs. So I'm making phone calls to architects. You got any roofs coming up with standing seam and TPO on them? And that's turned out to be pretty good because in the last 2 weeks, I've been able to look at 3 and price 3. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of door knocking. All right, and a lot of phone calls.
Do you have to have some budget, like at least we can have a visiting card and we can have our brochures or something, so that we have this kind of people who are maybe they have past experience that we can market and do stuff. So do we have to have some budget for that, market ourselves?
You might want to have a little one, a unit price budget in your head, all right, that you can give them. But as soon as you give them that, you want to say, as soon as I put pencil to this, I'll get you a number we can all live with. All right. If it's just totally theoretical, go ahead and give them a unit price number. I'd bump it up a little bit to cover inflationary costs and things like that. In the back, yes, sir.
You have like long enough established relations with GCs to where when they bid a project that you know later on they're going to use you.
Yeah, I do. And most of them are my classmates. At A&M, all the rings look the same. And I look for Aggie rings every time I walk in somebody's office. All right. Right now, I've got a job going on with Rogers O'Brien. The project manager's an Aggie. All right. He's already told me, he said, I don't think we'll have a problem pushing any of your change orders through. Okay. Real quick, I want to tell y'all something I learned last February. Please write this down. Live your life with 5 H's. I learned this from Reed Ribble and this past February in New Orleans. The first one is hustle. Hustle, whoever you work for, when you're working for yourself. Get out there, beat the bushes. Make those sales. All right? The next one is humor. All right? You don't have to go in there and be a clown. All right? But, you know, you've got to take the light with the bad. If you're walking around crying all the time, you're just putting wrinkles in your face. All right? Look for the humor. Health. If your health is nothing, if you're falling apart, I'm old, I'm falling apart, okay? You got to take care of yourself, all right? It doesn't do any good for you to be telling all your people, I need you to take care of yourself, be healthy, doing all this stuff, and you're not doing it, all right? The company I work for, when the flu season cranks up, everybody gets flu shots and the company pays for them, all right? And my boss, we tell our field guys, if you would like your wife to come in and get a flu shot, please bring her. It doesn't do any good for you to get a flu shot and your wife gets sick and you got to stay home with the kids. Okay? So yeah, take care of your employees and take care of yourself. Humility. All right? Be humble in whatever you do. Next thing, be honest. Honesty is always the best policy. Even if you're going to lose the job, be honest. I told Professor G, I did the Bass Pro Shops in Grapevine, Texas. When I went to the pre-award meeting, they asked me if I'd picked up the metal roofing on the inside of the building. And my answer was no. And then when they asked me why, I said, because it's on the inside of the building, I wasn't looking for metal roof. I wasn't looking for any roofing on the inside of the building. They gave me the opportunity to price it. I priced it right there with a unit number, ended up doing the work. All right. Then that's a great example of being very knowledgeable about what you do. My contact there, when we got awarded the job, he told me that all the other people they'd interviewed that day, when they asked a question about standing seam, it was, I don't know, I'll have to get back to you. But I had an answer for every question that they could ask me. Yeah. Love what I do. Love all your metal roofs on this campus, by the way. Yeah, cool stuff. That's it? Good? Great. Keep up the good work. You're next.
Hard act to follow.
I doubt it. One of the Bailey Circus clowns.
Well, hello, everybody. Hello.
Right now, almost an hour, believe it or not. Are you guys good? Good?
Okay. If it gets terrible, you can get up and leave. It's all right. You won't hurt my feelings. Okay. Hello. Oh, I need the clicker, I guess. Okay.
There we go.
Perfect. So, oops. There we go. Okay. So this lady you see in the picture right here is right up there on the screen. This is Karen Edwards, my partner in crime. So my name is Heidi Ellsworth. I'm with Roofers Coffee Shop. So I'm coming from a totally different perspective than Mark. So I think it's going to work out great. And Karen, probably closer to my perspective, but also has a little bit different. So between the three of us, we're going to be offering a different way to look. And I have to tell you, when I saw that assignment that you have up there, that's due by the 28th, I think Karen and I should be your new best friends because they are pretty much going to be answered in these 3 books that we just passed out to everybody. So anybody who's online who don't have the books, talk to us, we'll figure it out. It's only fair since I just put that out there. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to start with introduction, then I'm going to have Karen introduce herself. We're going to be going back and forth throughout this whole presentation. I started in the roofing industry in 1993. And I worked for a company by the name of Malarkey Roofing out of Portland, Oregon, who makes asphalt shingles and build-up roofing. My dad was a contractor. I grew up in the trades. I thought I would never go into construction. I was pretty sure of it. I graduated from University of Portland in 1986 in communications management. And I got into roofing as a marketing coordinator for Malarkey Roofing, and I've never left. I'll be 30 years next year. Yeah, next year, 30 years in the roofing industry. It is an amazing industry. And I am a salesperson. So I'm going to warn you all right now. That's who I am. I am a salesperson. I'm going to sell you on roofing by the time we're done today. So you're already sold because you're in here and you got the best professor. But so I'm going to come at it, and what we're going to be talking about is coming at it from a very different direction. I've never actually worked on the roof. I have worked with roofing contractors. I've worked with distributors. I've worked with manufacturers. I worked with technology companies, and I do sales and marketing. And we help other people do sales and marketing. That's your assignment. I was kind of excited. I'd like to do that assignment, actually. It looked kind of fun to me. So, Karen, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Edwards, and similar background to Heidi. I went to college for communications. I found myself a few years later working for an advertising agency that worked with lumber and building material suppliers. From there, I made the jump into roofing, worked for Carlisle Syntech. Heidi actually hired me there. They're a commercial roofing manufacturer, single ply, EPDM, TPO, PVC. Spent a few years there, worked for a technology company in roofing for a little while, then ended up starting my own consulting business. Where I work with Heidi at Roofers Coffee Shop. They're one of my clients, and I work with some contractors around the country to help them with their marketing.
So you have a lot of years here of experience in helping people start businesses, rebrand businesses, putting businesses out there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we love this stuff. We live and breathe it. So it was really hard for me back there when listening to Mark. I just wanted to kind of jump up and talk with him every step of the way because it is it's very fun. We're going to follow these books. So Karen and I worked also for Eagle View, which how many people have heard of Eagle View? Okay, so since you were writing things down, write down Eagle View and check it out. It's an aerial imagery company. It was a startup in 2008, and it takes aerial images, and from those aerial images, it is able to measure roofs or anything on the ground. It's now advanced since 2008. They're using AI. They're doing all types of work measuring. Karen and I were part of that startup. So we helped actually bring this technology into roofing. And you can imagine, roofing's a bit conservative. And you have a few people who've been around for a while. So as I'm walking in and I'm sitting down in this roofing company and I'm saying, I want you to use this new technology. You don't have to measure roofs anymore. Can you imagine what Mark would have said to me? He told me this last night too. I'm still crazy, but that's what we try. That's what happens. We have all these new technologies coming in. We're trying to bring all of this into the business. So it's really important. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. But as you're looking through this, thinking about how technology is also part of that business plan, part of your sales and marketing, it all goes together. So as we go through this, so I get back on topic here. As when we, oh, Karen, this is your slide. I got way ahead of myself. I went to the books. Sorry, go ahead.
Man, Heidi, slow down.
I gotta look at you back there. Yeah.
No, this is cool. So this is a really important slide because everything that we're gonna talk about all comes back to this journey. And in terms of, you guys are starting your own businesses with this project, right? So you start your company, and what you need to do for sales and marketing is you need to basically attract strangers. You don't know who your customer might be, people in this community that you decide where you're going to serve. You need to attract them to you, to come to your website, perhaps to talk to you at an in-person event. There's some ways at the bottom of these boxes that you could do that. If it's your website, social media, your search engine optimization, you're bringing people to you. You're turning those strangers into visitors. Once those visitors come to see you, you have to work to convert them into a lead. And there's all kinds of terms for this: qualified leads, marketing qualified leads, sales qualified leads. But basically, you want that stranger who became a visitor to turn into a lead for your company. And then you're going to need to close them and turn them into customers. And then while they're a customer, Mark talked about this a lot, and we'll talk a little bit more about the customer experience. You need to give them a good experience from start to finish. They need to see that professional image, that professional behavior, the way you work on your job sites, how you treated their property. And then when the time the job is done, you've delighted them, they become your promoters. They're the ones that are going to say, hey, I worked with this company and they were fantastic. That's the cycle.
Yep. And those promoters, they start bringing in strangers,
Yep.
right? So the whole thing starts coming back around. Karen and I have worked through that chart probably thousands of times. And so in 2015, 2016, we sat down and we said, you know what, we should put this down in writing, things that we've been doing. So we started with this book. So this is going to be the first, our presentation is in 3 parts. This is the first one. Now I'm going to be really honest. This is 101, right? This is 101. Karen and I sometimes are embarrassed because we're like, somebody's going to read this and they're going to think we're just simpletons. But it's not. It's all good, basic, ground floor marketing. So if you've had marketing classes before, again, please give us a little bit of grace. But if you haven't and you're applying this to your businesses that you're developing, a lot of what you're going to see that you're being asked for is going to be covered in this book. So we're going to start with that one first.
Okay, we'll talk about what opportunities are there in roofing, and there's a lot of opportunities. You could work for a roofing company. You could start your own company, as you're going to do with your project. You could work for roofing distribution or manufacturing. But whatever you do, all of these roles, you do need to understand sales, marketing, and networking, which are the things that we're going to be going over today. Because as I heard Mark say it, whether you're a project manager, whether you're an estimator, you're a marketer, you're a salesperson, you're representing the company. So that's what we're going to dive into first.
Yeah, we call it brand ambassadors. So no matter where you're at in the company that you either go to work for or where you're starting, and a lot of you I know, a lot of science, a lot of technical, you maybe haven't had too many marketing classes, but this will serve you across anything you do, whether you stay in construction or not. It's just knowing what you're bringing to your employer and to the customers out there. So I want to talk a little bit about traditional marketing. So when I started in roofing way long ago, we had something, anybody know what this is? This picture is? You probably sat on it at the table, right? To get a little bit higher, because no one's really used Yellow Pages in that long, except for now it's online. So you still can go to yellowpages.com and let your fingers do the walking. Karen and I were talking about that. What an amazing marketing slogan, right, Karen?
Yeah. Let your fingers do the walking. Now they still do. They just do it on a computer.
They do it through there. So, but this is where it all started. When I first started, companies actually named their companies starting with an A. How many ABC roofing companies do you see? A lot, right? There was a reason for that. It's because they're higher up in the Yellow Pages. They're the first ones in the roofing section. And so there was strategy going into that. And then how big an ad do you have and what do you do? A lot of companies are still going to be this way. So as you are going out after graduation and looking and working with other companies, you may get into a company and they may still honestly not have a website, not use any technology. They might even be still looking for the Yellow Pages. You don't know. And that is the shift that we're seeing. There's a huge generational shift right now in marketing in the industry overall as we're going through this. So, but some things have never changed, right? The things that have never changed is you need to know what the company's priority is. Who's your market? Who's your audience? First thing of communications, who's your audience? And you also need to know what is the budget? What am I going to spend? What's going to make sense? And how can I start bringing these models together, right? How can I have, to what Mark said, there is nothing more important than the relationship. People do business with people they like. If they can't see you one way or the other, whether it's Zoom or even obviously always better in person, you're not going to get that engagement. That's what sales is all about. But you also need to bring them in, like that chart says, attracting them. And that's where the hybrid comes in. That's where the digital marketing, the different types of cause marketing. Charles was here last week or 2 weeks ago, brilliant marketer. And he is doing things around philanthropy that is crazy. So how do you put all that together? How do you start bringing traditional marketing, traditional ways of doing things into this new age?
So Heidi and I have presented this to roofing contractors at industry conferences. We've presented at the International Roofing Expo, at the Western Roofing Expo, at the Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Expo. And we have contractors come to our class and they know we need to market, but I don't really know what I should be doing. Where do I start? You know, their company maybe has been around for a while. And if they're an existing business, we always say, you have to do an evaluation of where you are now. What are you doing now? Where's your company stand? Talk to your employees, talk to your customers, look at your social media if you have it. How often are you posting? Where is your company now? You have to understand that in order to develop a plan to move it forward. If you're a new business just starting up, what's going to be really important are your core values. What are they? What matters to you, to your team, to your company? What is your mission statement? What kind of employees do you want working for you? You know, we're doing this at Roofers Coffee Shop. We're evaluating. We're looking at the people who work for us and what traits are important for people that we bring on board to our team, what values they need to align with that. And then all of that helps drive your messaging when you're developing that in your marketing.
Right. How many people have read the book Traction? Nope. Okay. I'm going to highly recommend this book, Traction, by Gino. Karen will tell us. Gino wrote it. Yeah. And we can get that for you. But this book, you will hear this as you talk to other roofing companies and companies all over. It's EOS stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. Companies everywhere are putting this together. And roofing is really big on this because it's big about processes, it's big about evaluation, it's big about everything, core values. You put together a whole plan around this. So as you're looking at that, it's a great book. Get a Grip is the second book, a little easier to read because it's a storytelling format. But both of them will help you as in the thoughts of creating a business around entrepreneurship.
Heidi,
And they, oh yes.
Before you go on, I want to reiterate too that even if your company's been around for a while, just, you set your core values, your mission, and then you move on, but you need to check back in every so many years because the things change, the environment changes, businesses change, and it's important to reset that. And we're doing this right now at Roofers Coffee Shop. We've been around 20 years, but we've brought in some new leadership over the last few years. And so we're revisiting that and working through the EOS book right now.
And you know what, I wasn't very good in our introduction, but I'm actually the owner of Roofers Coffee Shop, and Roofers Coffee Shop is in its 20th year. Now, I have not been the owner that long, but I came in as a partner in 2015. So we're taking, much like you will see in roofing a lot, we're taking a company that's been around for a long time, and we have, in the last 5 to 6 years, we have remade it. It's been rebranded, it's been put out there. So a lot of this, we aren't just teaching, we're doing. And so that's kind of, it's nice when you have that, you can say, yeah, I know how hard it is to do my core values. I know how hard it is to survey my employees. So it's hard sometimes when we're going out to all the employees. We have a lot of Gen Zs who work for us, a lot of millennials. In fact, Karen and I are probably the oldest of the bunch. I'm the oldest of the bunch. Well, no, Tim is my husband's older than me. And, but we do this all the time. What is the mission? What are the current goals and objectives? What are we doing? This is not going to apply to your homework, but this is definitely going to apply to when you go out after graduation and start working in companies. You should expect this. And when we interview the students from the student competition, this is what we hear. It's number one is culture. And I'll be really interested. And I want to say, if you have questions as we're going along, if you want to stop, feel free. We want this to be interactive. But we have learned as much from all of you, if not more, than we're ever going to teach, because this is who's taking over the world right here in this classroom. Karen.
Customer experience. And Mark, you talked a lot about this too. The core values of your company need to match that experience that you deliver to your customer. You need to look at what does your customer expect? Are they using technology? Do they expect you to use technology? Are you delivering them a professional presentation? Are you following up? When Mark said, if you're on your way and you're running late, communicate, call them, respect them, give them a good experience, and that's going to return itself to your company by that positive word of mouth. How are you treating their property, their business? Are you cleaning up, putting those trash in bags 2 to 3 times a day? That leaves a powerful impression on that customer. And you want them to have a good experience from start to finish so that they do turn into that promoter and that brand ambassador for your company. It's really, really important.
It is, and as you are putting together this assignment, I'm sorry I keep coming back to this, but I'm just enthralled by it. I think it's so cool. But this is really important. As you are creating a company, right, this is what you want to think about. What is that customer experience that we are going to give? So if it's residential, what is that experience? What do you want them to experience, right? Do you want them to think about your parents? How do they want to be treated? How do they want to be sold to? What kind of roof do they need? If you're a millennial, what kind of roof do you need? And in commercial, it's the same thing, right? What does that building owner need? Or maybe the building owner isn't involved and is a facility manager. So as you're putting all this together, who's your audience and who are you really going after? And your core values and that customer experience, build into that and make it happen. It's the same once you have all those things and once you kind of put that together. And I'm just going to give you a quick example. I'm going to create a residential company, but my residential company, I want it to be around solar, right? So I really believe in solar. I believe it's the next thing. We have to get off of our dependence on oil. We need to move on. So I'm going to build a company. It's all around solar. What kind of roof am I going to put under that solar? Well, you know what? I personally think I'm going to put a metal roof underneath that solar system because it lasts as long as the solar panels do, where the asphalt shingles do not last as long. So those are the kind of things, as you're thinking about the customer experience, then you think about your sales And how do your sales team now sell what you just wanted to do? Can they? Is there a market for it? Can people afford solar and metal? Is there enough demand, right? Is there enough crews to put it on in your area? Who's going to install it? Those kind of things all go in to the sales evaluation. A lot of times what will happen is you'll have marketing people, like myself and Karen, who will say, we're going to do solar over metal. That's all we're going to do. Go sell it. This is it. This is our core value. This is the thing. You can't sell it because it's too expensive, right? And you're in the wrong area. Maybe you live in Portland, Oregon, and there's no sun, right? So all of those things kind of go together. So you don't want to sabotage your sales team. Really, marketing is driven by ownership and then by sales. But that is who makes it. And then marketing reinforces that. They don't make it up. They reinforce the goals and what you want your sales team to be selling and how the materials they need in order to do that.
So
Yes.
where are you going to get these?
Wait,
Oh.
Karen, we have a question. Go ahead.
Just going back to the employees, and I want to know that how do you make sure that the employees that you hire have, aligned with the core values that you have as a company?
Excellent question. So Karen, it was, how do you know if the employees you're hiring align with the core values of your company? I just did this last week. So we are hiring right now. We're hiring an executive assistant who works for me, and it's not the easiest job in the world. And so we have developed a job description. In the job description are our core values. They're listed right there. And we should have brought a copy of that, but we can share our core values with you. It's being on it, the RCS experience. I can't think of the rest of them. Karen has them there somewhere, but I should know them. I should know them by heart. We just did it. So we're still working through having this memorized. And so I went through it with that employee and asked them questions. And then our controller, she's an HR person, she actually put together questions that went with the core values. So when we ask those questions, we can see if they relate back to that core value. But before we ever used them to hire anybody, we gave them out to all of our employees. We went through a full PowerPoint, full disclosure. These are our core values. This is what we believe. This is what we got from you after surveying them. And then we asked for their feedback. And there were a couple changes. And so then now we have the buy-in of all of our people, and we call them crew now. CREW, because we are all rowing together in the same direction, and hopefully. And so our crew members keep us honest. And now we apply that to anybody we hire. Yeah, and that's all in that traction book. I wish I could say I'm the brilliant one who came up with it, but no.
It is, Heidi. We went through that book and we really developed these core values. And I pulled them up in front of me, but it's RCS crew, and that's just being part of the crew is, we're always uplifting, we're challenging, we listen. No one person is more important than another. Every crew member is accountable to overall success. We're humble. We put that word in there, Mark, that you learned from Reed Ribble. Drama-free. I've worked with Heidi for many years, and drama-free has always been very important.
My most favorite thing.
Yes.
No drama.
Yes. RCS, one of our core values is the RCS power, that the power of Roofers Coffee Shop comes from investing in our crew as they evolve in their career, and we provide opportunities to learn and grow. We want our employees to be able to adapt to new situations. Being part of that crew, we accomplish what needs to be done, but we never lose sight of our true priority. And the true priority is taking care of yourself and your loved ones. Finding that work-life balance is the term that you hear all the time, but we really try to live that and exemplify that. And we want our team members to as well. We expect our crew members to have the RCS experience, we call it, that anybody who interacts with us, whether it's a partner, a contractor, one of our own crew members, that they will feel respected, welcomed, wanted, and valued. That they're inspired by our passion for success. They carry it through to their own lives. That is a true partnership, and that on it, you mentioned that, Heidi, that we're on it. We understand that there's a sense of urgency, that we need to be responsive. We need to be tenacious. We need to take care of our customers and our people. And so we share this. We came up with it as a team. We shared it with our team. Our leadership team signed a pledge committing to these values. And then we use it when we bring new people on. We go through it. We say, this is it. These are our values. And, to work here, you need to also embrace and believe in these.
In your research SRS. So SRS, they are a major distributor. They own roofing distribution around the whole country. They have core values, and they have a core values pledge that they do that is really interesting. And so they're out of Texas too.
Yeah, they're moving towards the Hispanic population.
Yes. Very inclusive, huge on diversity, great company. Karen, okay, sorry, we got to keep going because otherwise we'll be here into happy hour, and that'd be sad. I know some of you can't go to happy hour, but Karen, the generating leads. So this is going to vary. I know there's two projects, one residential, one commercial. It's very different marketing for homeowners, residential, to business owners, B2B, B2C, business to consumer, business to business. But no matter what, you need some way to manage those leads. And CRM, customer relations management software, is a very good way to, when you come back from an in-person event, a trade show or something, you drop them into this software program, you follow up with them, you can track where they are in their life cycle and their process. You need to figure out where your leads are coming from, know where your leads are coming from. We'll dive a little bit deeper into this in a couple of slides. Digital is very important in lead generation, but so is canvassing, whether that's residentially or knocking on doors, like Mark said, with business owners and commercial businesses. Public relations, one of my favorite, that was my emphasis of my major when I was in school. You can send a press release out about anything. And a lot of times it gets run and picked up and it's out there on the internet. That's a great way to generate leads for your business. And then those in-person events. There's a lot of different ways to do it. So as you are on Roofers Coffee Shop, we are a publishing group for the roofing industry, full website, podcasts, webinars, in-person events, you name it. And you can find all types of CRMs just for roofing on our site. So if you go to the directory, you look under software, if that's part of it, all the technology's there, along with all the distributors and everything else. So a great research area. So with lead generation too, as we talked about it, it's a funnel, right? So exactly what Mark said, there's knocking on doors, there's getting to know people. And I mean, you can do that with commercial. I mean, go to a BOMA meeting, which is the Building Owner Management Association, right? Go to meetings where facility managers are going to be. Residentially, the Chamber of Commerce, going to the different county fairs. I mean, you can find homeowners everywhere. But also just taking the time to Google, who's the #1 facility manager in this area? How do I get a hold of them? And one of my favorite, we're going to talk about in a minute, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is so powerful. But what we talk about is there's a lot of ways to do this, but then you need to start tracking. That's where that CRM comes in, so that when the leads come in, then once you get a sales call, you're following up, as we talked about, conversion and sale, you start understanding what works and what doesn't work. That's really key, because you don't want to spend a lot of time and money if you're knocking on doors and it's getting you nowhere, when you really could be doing Google ads. And that's really bringing in the leads. It's all about where you're at in your area. Every area around the country is different.
So true. This is so different. So digital, I say, think about it. When you are wanting to make a purchase, a home improvement, even buying a car or something, most people start their search online. So if you've got to be where your customers are, and there's a lot of digital opportunities. Pay-per-click, Google Adwords is super competitive. It can be a large investment. I work with a contractor in a very large metro area that it's very competitive. They do more residential than they do commercial, and they spend $3,000 a month on Google AdWords. And they're constantly, there's a need to monitor, how are we doing? What words are doing well? Which ones aren't? Do I need to adjust my spend? So, it can be really challenging. I know I understand it. I don't do it. I work with experts to do it. I can help manage it and do that, but it takes a lot of knowledge and understanding because Google changes their algorithms all the time. There are Google display ads. You know how you go on to, maybe you're on Amazon and you're looking at a pair of boots. And then when you go over to CNN or weather.com, you're seeing ads for that pair of boots that you were just looking at. There's opportunities to do that kind of stuff through Google display ads. So if somebody is searching for roofing, types of roofing, and maybe they visited Owens Corning's website or GAF's website, you could follow them around a little bit on the internet and show your ads. There are opportunities within communities as well. Local media, newspapers are they're kind of dying. Radio, those traditional opportunities, they're smarter now. They know that online is where it is. So a lot of them will have packages that do a little bit of that traditional stuff, but then also give you the opportunity to be online. There's also opportunities within different industries. Talking about niche areas. If you're going to do metal and you're going to do solar and that works in your market, then there are opportunities with solar information sites and communities like that where the potential customer may be doing their research and you want to be where your customer is. SEO is also really, really important. Search engine optimization and the website, your company's website plays a key role in driving traffic to your site. And one of the ways that happens is by having fresh, relevant content, blogs. Having a blog on your website, because you build a website and you may have 10 or 12 pages that talk about what you do. I do commercial roofing, I do residential roofing. Here are the types of products we have. But having a constant flow of information for potential customers will bring people to your site. Maybe there was a hailstorm that went through the area and a person's wondering, maybe I have hail damage. I'm not sure, what should I do? And they're going to type into the search engine, how do I know if I have hail damage on my roof? And you just happen to have written a blog last month about that, whether that's residential or commercial, and answering their questions. What does the restoration process look like? How does that work? Working with my company. So the more relevant information that you can put on your website to answer questions for folks, all of that ranks very well in search engines' eyes, Bing and Google being the two probably biggest and most popular ones that will help draw that traffic to your website. So it's really important.
Roofers Coffee Shop offers this opportunity to roofing contractors. It's called our R Club. And in the R Club, contractors get a directory. And with that directory, they can put all their information. They can talk about their culture. They can talk about what they're doing. And then they also, from there, they get hooked up with our sister site, Ask a Roofer, which is, Ask a Roofer is for homeowners and building owners. So by having that directory, being hooked up with a site that's talking to homeowners and building owners, you now have the SEO going back to your website. So there's a lot of, when we talk about industry opportunities, there's a lot of opportunities out there that I refer to as guerrilla marketing because they're not that expensive. And you have to be very careful because there's, to be honest, there's some people out there who will tell you they'll do SEO or pay-per-click or Google ads, and they will take a lot of money and you'll get nothing. I know nothing on this. I just start there, and then we have Karen, and then Karen gets all the experts because she's like the translator. I'm like, I really want this. So it's okay to find people who are good, but vet them within the industry, which this is probably a little bit more. I'm going into our contractor talking mode now, Karen.
You are. It's okay, Heidi. And I just, so Roofers Coffee Shop, we're doing that right now. And Heidi she says to me, we want to do Google AdWords. And I'm like, no, we don't, Heidi, because that's really expensive. And it's not really fit for a business, but the Google display ads, because we market ourselves to roofing contractors. And we want roofing contractors to come on our site, to use our classifieds, to be part of that R Club, to get information to help their business. So same way, she comes to me, I talk, and then I work with my specialist who I say, this is what I want. And then he does all that behind the scenes, making it happen stuff, because you have to have an expert. And it's really important to have experts that understand your industry and your business, because there are people, like Heidi said, that will just take your money. Oh yeah, I can for you, but they don't understand.
It happens a lot. Trust me, all the time. And so when you're talking about marketing today, I'm just gonna go through this real quick because it's basically what this is a summary slide of looking at the old ways of doing things, that interpersonal relationship thing, and then reinventing it with new digital tools, websites, and then finding talent to manage it. So that's the key, is finding the people who are smart enough to do all that. Long-term sales. This is really important for the commercial side.
This is, and Mark talked about, he just got 3 jobs that he didn't have to bid. And that's key. That's what you want as a commercial roofing contractor, that negotiated work. You don't want to have a project that got put out to bid and you've got 10 or 12 other companies bidding on that same project. You want to have built that relationship over time. This is a relationship business. And so that your customer is your friend, knows that they can trust you. If they have a problem or they need work done, they're just going to call you because you've built that relationship. A lot of times that comes through service and maintenance programs. Replacing a roof, roofs last a long time, right? 20 plus years, depending on the system. But throughout that lifespan of that roof, it is going to need service and maintenance in the spring and the fall, following storms, minor repairs, extending the life cycle of that roof. And if you're that contractor who's done that work for those number of years, then that's the relationship that is going to, when it's time to re-roof that roof, then they're going to probably pick up the phone and call you. Referrals, word of mouth. We've talked about that through that cycle, attract, at the end, they become promoters. Community, being involved in your community is huge. Sponsoring the kids' baseball team or soccer team, being a part of the community. You live there too. You support that community and you build your friends and make friends there. And that relationship is what gives you those long-term jobs. And then your vendors too. A lot of times vendors will have events and they'll also be source of leads for you. So there's a lot of things to think about, but in the end, it is a relationship business.
Here's a little insight. As you're putting your plans together, I would highly recommend including service and maintenance, whether you're residential or commercial. Look up service and maintenance. It's the hot trend and it's a great sustainable revenue for a roofing business. Vendor relationships, you really want to look at who your vendors are. So if you're going to pick your distributor, right, and I saw that on there, who are you going to work with and what can they give you? And that sounds a little, I'm not sure how it sounds, but I'm always like, what can I get? Because manufacturers and distributors are going to give you things. They're going to give you discounts. You're going to get certain rebates. You're also going to be able to get technology. They will give you discounts on new technologies out there. Things that you will get through loyalty programs that you won't get anywhere else. Manufacturers will help you with marketing. They will help you actually build case studies, spreadsheets. When we were at Carlisle, we did that for some of the largest commercial roofing contractors in the country. We would put together case studies for them or do special photography. Same thing on residential. We did that with Eagle View for contractors out there. So figuring out for this new business, who you want to do business with and what can they provide you? What can they give you back? And trust me, they want your business and they want your loyalty. Because of price and because of material shortages, a lot of loyalty is not there like it used to be, and they're looking to rebuild that through all these other programs. So there's a lot of opportunity. And training and ongoing education. I mean, you need to get your crews trained. You need to get yourself trained. That's distributors and manufacturers do that.
Technology in roofing. Roofing is probably the slowest of the trades to adopt technology. Like Heidi was talking about Eagle View, the aerial measurement company, and sitting down with contractors, telling them that this technology, they were very wary. I don't know. I don't trust it. I trust myself. I've been here for years. So technology is going to be a big consideration as you put your business together, or if you go work for an existing business. You have to look at what software do you need. If you're in a role and the next generation, the future of roofing, right? This is the generation that has grown up with technology. So you have a lot of knowledge that the roofing industry needs, because they're, older, maybe. We didn't grow up with computers in school, my generation. So I might not even know what I need. So if you're in a role and you say, wow, if we had software that could do this, we would be this much more efficient. You have to ask, you have to talk to the
Yeah.
company about that. And integrations are going to be really important too. One of the frustrations we hear from contractors is their accounting program doesn't talk to their sales CRM, which doesn't talk to their estimating program, and people are entering data in multiple times, and then that could result in errors. So there are a lot of tools just even in the last 5 years, Heidi, maybe, that we've seen, especially through the distributors. Heidi, SRS distributes.
SRS has RubeHub.
Roof Hub, ABC Supply has My ABC Supply. Beacon has Beacon Pro Plus, and it's software. It's an app on your phone, but it allows you to manage your business. You can see where your orders are. You can order roof measurements. You can get hail reports to see what areas may have been affected by storms. So it's getting a lot better, but it still has a long way to go.
Yeah. Beacon is another one you definitely want to research as you're doing this. They're doing amazing things with technology and with their loyalty programs. They're really strong. Karen is the executive director of Roofing Technology Think Tank, which I was the founder of. And so the two of us work together on it. And that is another site you may want to look at. It's rt3thinktank.com. And it is roofing professionals from across the country, from all disciplines, who have come together to bring technology into the industry. So there's a lot of great articles. Karen writes a lot of them, blogs, a lot of things about technology and roofing, and it makes a difference. Yeah, yes. So we're all going to college. We're all going to go to A&M, Texas A&M, in May to tour their facility as part of it, see what technology they have. So we do a lot of this around. The thing with the technology out there too is it will totally differentiate your business. So as you're developing your roofing companies, if you can say to someone like me who never wants you to come sit in my house with my husband and I at the kitchen table and take 2 hours of my time that night, if through technology you can say, hey, we will help you go through the roof, we'll do it over a Zoom call, we will help have an aerial measurement, we'll have all this information, we'll come out and inspect, we'll send you pictures, everything. You've just made me the happiest woman in the world, right? Now, other people are gonna be like, no way, I want you to come out and sit at this table with me, and I wanna go watch you up on the roof. So you have all different kinds of things, but that technology will differentiate your business, your roofing business. Yes?
Yeah, you just mentioned a company that's called something
Yeah, Beacon, BEACON. And they're a distributor. So, yep, Greg Bloom. Kind of harass him a little bit. Tell him we were here first. Yeah. Yeah. ABC Beacon, yeah, great companies, all of them. And it's just what fits your culture as you get to your distributors. We're going to go on to building a marketing plan. Are we okay to keep going? And are there any questions? Okay. So, phase 2. After Karen and I wrote the first book, we thought, well, let's get a workbook that will make it easy for people to build a marketing plan. So this is what Karen and I have done probably hundreds of times for different companies, is building, Mark, we'll get you some, don't worry. I saw him looking, do you want this?
I'll find one.
Okay. The marketing plan, we've had contractors who've actually come back to us. It's like a workbook, you work through it, and they have said, you totally have changed what we're doing in our business. This is what we needed. So this will help you put together your marketing plan. Why a marketing plan? So a marketing plan is only as good as your business plan for your business, right? So the first step in your business is the business plan. I have a business plan for Roofers Coffee Shop. We're now putting a new one. I look at it every year. I go through it. We make sure that it's staying on course of where we want to go. And then from that, we create our marketing plan. And the marketing plan helps to basically enable the business plan, right? It doesn't drive it, it enables it. it also is something that you can look at and you can make sure these are our goals in our business plan. This marketing plan is going to help us make sure we're getting the analytics, the ROI, the lead. We're doing all the things we need to hit our sales goals, right? It's what it's all about. Now, marketing will also, and we'll talk about this a little bit, it's not always just sales. It could be community relations. It could be risk management, crisis management. There could be other things in there too. So, but all of it helps to build the culture and communications and hit what you want to happen in your company.
So who's going to do it, right? So many people go into, starting their own contracting business because they want to install roofs. They want to build buildings. They like that work on designing and planning. They don't really want to do marketing. So we always tell contractors the first thing is look inside. Who do you have in your office already, or a team member who maybe has a little bit of background in marketing? Maybe they have a little more knowledge. They're doing this job at your company, but what did they go to school for? That you may find somebody there. Your sales team, really, sales and marketing are so very closely aligned. We always like to say marketing supports sales, but sales, like Heidi says, she's a salesperson. She's also an excellent marketer. So a lot of your salespeople also are very good marketers and may have that knack for helping you develop the plan and help execute some of it. You might consider outside support. Or a consultant like me. I worked with a company, a contractor that was in their second year of business, and they knew they needed to put together a marketing plan and make some things happen, and they didn't have the resources inside, so they hired me, and I put a plan together. I helped them improve their website, start their social media, work on their SEO, and started some Google Ads programs for them. And then they grew to the point where they were able to hire a marketing coordinator who comes inside the business. I still work with them today. I just do their PR for them, and their marketing coordinator is now their director, and they've been very successful. There are agencies out there that specialize in working with construction and roofing, but it's not one person that does it. It really does take a team, and that everybody touches sales and marketing in some way every day, no matter what your role is.
Okay. So I am a consultant. Oh, go ahead.
So is Roofers Coffee Shop like a consultant company or roofing companies for advertising?
Really good question. Really good question. Because we confuse people with this all the time. So Roofers Coffee Shop think of it as a trade publication or a publishing group, right? It's a media group. Then Karen has her own consulting business, Casimir Group. I have my own consulting business because we just don't have enough to do with our lives, right? So we have to have multiple businesses. So I have my own business, which is HJE Consulting. And so in my consulting business, I'm actually the consultant for the Roofing Alliance. So if you've heard of the Roofing Alliance that does competition, I do their marketing plan. And then Karen works with me because we do everything together, and she works with me on supporting and doing everything we just talked about for the Roofing Alliance. I do only have one customer, where before I had several, but because Roofers Coffee Shop has grown so much, I've now had to put that business to the side. And so Roofers Coffee Shop, we do help our customers. We do a lot of sales and marketing and advertising for our customers, but really we're a publishing group. They pay us advertising dollars. So, and that helped me answer the question, what I was just going to say about Roofing Alliance. So the other thing too is, as you're looking for these people, the one thing you want to be careful, again, this probably isn't going to happen in your assignment, but maybe once you graduate, is there's a lot of people out there who will say, I can do that. I can do that marketing plan for you. I can do this for you. They need to understand roofing. And so talk to other contractors, make sure they understand roofing, because I've had people who have come in and have tried to say, oh, here's a marketing plan for a commercial company, and it's all residential because they don't understand the market. And marketing for a commercial company versus a residential company versus a company that does both, 3 totally different ways of marketing. And so there's a lot to kind of think about who your audience is and how you're gonna visit with them. Is this mine? I've lost track.
I think so.
Yes, sales and marketing teamwork. So this is super important. We talked about this before. If your sales and marketing team do not work together, you lose money. It's that simple because they're going in opposite directions. And your marketing team is marketing one thing, they're bringing in leads that your salespeople can't close and they don't know what to do with, right? And so you are losing money. You need to align your sales and marketing no matter what you do. It's probably one of the most important things I can put out there because I have been in several companies where they were not aligned and it's a wreck. And so, but once they align, it's magic. It just brings everything together. So this doesn't have a whole lot to do probably with where we're going, but it has a lot to do later on. And this is something to always remember. If you ever get into sales and marketing, make sure you're working with the other person, whatever it is.
And here we go. It's time to evaluate again. Constantly need to be evaluating, whether you're a new company or whether you're an old company. It's yearly. You need to take a look at what are our sales goals? What's our pipeline look like? The pipeline is, that funnel Heidi was talking about. Where are people in that funnel? If we have a whole bunch of people at the top of the funnel who aren't ready to buy, how are we moving them through the funnel? What's working? What isn't? Are the products that we're offering the right products? Do we need to expand? Maybe we are in business and we don't have a service department, and we see that with the shortage of materials and us not being able to get stuff till 2023, maybe service is the way to go because I can take care of some roofs and help extend the life of that roof a little bit longer until materials can come in. Evaluate your culture, your team, the markets that you're in. Is the growing trend is solar, especially in residential. Tesla has a solar roof now. GAF just launched a integrated solar shingle. And then where do you want to be in 5 to 10 years? And are the activities that you're doing going to get you there? What's working and what's not? And a marketing plan, it's just a plan. It can change. Just because you put it down in writing and say, this is the plan we're following. Well, 3 months from now, if you see a new trend, a new happening, a new product, you can make shifts. It's just basically a guide for you, and it can change. It's okay to do that. And that's why we always evaluate.
Yeah. And that evaluation gets you to your plan. Okay. So as you're putting together your marketing plan, there's really a very basic structure. It's in the book, and you'll see probably 1,000 other marketing plans that are not this structure. Karen and I totally believe in this structure. It takes you through the whole process and makes it easy. The executive summary, do that last, right? So you've already done your evaluation. You already know your core values. You kind of know where you're going, right? So you've got that done for your business. So do your executive summary on your marketing plan last, because you need to work through everything else. So second, the company positioning statement. Right? So when I sat down with the Roofing Alliance, I went through everything that they have. I read through all of their stuff on the website, on all their documents, the past and stuff. And then we worked with the branding team to put together our mission statement. And then we put together, and they already had their core values. And then I was able to come behind that and put together a company positioning statement. This is who we are, and this is what we do, and this is how we're going to do it. Right? It's very simple, and it just lines it out for you. Then you got to know your markets. So as you're doing your research to try to figure out what are we going to do, right? What's our company? If our company is going to do, maybe it's going to be, we're going to specialize in metal for construction. I'm going to stick with metal because Mark likes it. And we're going to do metal in commercial. What's that market look like? It's very architectural, right? It's going to be higher end buildings. It's going to be higher where the money is, maybe universities, possibly high end homes, that are more being used on a commercial thing, or hotels. So understanding your markets, and then from those markets, you need to do the analytics to kind of figure out what's the potential of that market, so that you can then figure out your yearly goals, right? You want to be realistic. You don't want to put a marketing plan together that's saying we're going to sell $10 million in the first year. Now, maybe you will, but if you've done your homework, you're going to have a good idea what's out there and what you can do. Then you start branding that. right? How are we going to brand this? We know the market, we know our goals, we know our company position. How do we brand that and how do we put that out into the market? And then the marketing tools that come with that, right? There's a lot of marketing tools we've already talked about, digital, in-person, events, community, cause marketing, all of that. From there, put together budget and timelines and tasks. And one thing we don't have on here that we'll talk about is, and then you review it over and over and over again.
So you touched on this really well, Heidi. In the interest of time, I'd say we can probably skip over it, but understanding your market is really important. Like, is it metal? Is it commercial? Is it, once you understand and identify what your niche is, then that's going to help you develop the activities in your marketing plan.
Right. Yearly goals. This is, as you're looking at your goals, you want to start at the company goal. So what's in the business plan? What is the owner, as ownership, what do you expect? And then work down. So maybe this is not the case in your assignment, but there's a lot of roofing companies out there who have both residential and commercial. So your company goal, then what is each division's goals and how does that work? Then you go down into within each of those. Within the commercial side, you might have new construction and service and maintenance and re-roof. On the residential side, you might have solar and re-roof. You have different things. And so as you put all those goals together, it's really important that the marketing person's a part of that. Because if they don't understand the goals, then it's not going to work. And it has to align with sales. I've said that 10 million times. Also in yearly goals can be intangibles, right? So what do you want to do within the community? What kind of, like Charles talked about, what do you want to give back? What are your goals in that direction? What are your goals for your employees? What kind of things we every year are working on? What are some things we're doing for our employees that are different, that we can afford, right? That we can put out there. And then any special messaging. This is where you kind of look at it and you say, okay, what happens if we have a safety violation? What happens if we have a problem along the way with one of our customers who reports us and gives us a bad review? Some special messaging can go in there also. What your goal is to not have that happen, but to be ready for it. And finally, special initiatives. Maybe you want to start out with asphalt shingles, but you want to get into solar, so you're just going to dabble this year. Put that into your plan. How are we going to dabble? How are we going to find out about it?
Branding. I love branding. and I know, your professor said, don't spend a lot of time on the logo, but it is important. So if you guys aren't aware of this, it's a free online tool. It's called Canva, Canva, canva.com. It's a great way to get in there and create yourself a logo. It's got a lot of templates and a lot of pre-made stuff so that it shouldn't take you a lot of time. But I like to talk about branding really is really a lot to do with the customer experience. Your brand is, I use the example of Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts a lot. So Starbucks has created a brand feeling that I'm going to go to the coffee house. I'm going to sit for a while. I'm going to listen to some, adult light alternative music maybe and my Starbucks. Where Dunkin' Donuts, man, America runs on Dunkin'. You're in a hurry, you zip through there, you grab your box of Dunkin' Donuts and you go, right? It's two totally different experiences. So a brand is more than just a logo. So you have to think, are you laughing, Heidi?
No, I'm laughing because everybody in here is nodding, Karen. I don't know if you can see the room, but it's great. Everybody's going, oh yeah. Dunkin', Starbucks, got it.
Yeah, so as you're creating your brand, what is that experience that you want? What is that feeling that you want people to get? What is your brand promise? Maybe your brand promise is going to be, we'll promise you that we will be there when we say we're going to be there, that we'll show up, we'll clean up, we'll do the best work possible, and we'll communicate with you the entire time. As Mark said with King of Texas, that the communication and their reputation, and customers know that they're going to have a great experience. It's going to be clean. The people are going to look good. They're going to dress nice. They're going to be branded. They're not going to yell at women. That's part of their brand promise. And people know that.
I said, no yelling at women. I like that.
I know. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, women, you all know it happens. Have a branding guide. put it on paper. What does it mean? One page, right? And stick to it. These are our colors. This is why we choose these colors. This is the font. Everyone use this. We need consistency in our look. We need consistency in our messaging. And you want your employees to become those brand ambassadors when they are, and get them shirts and clothing with logos and that are nice, right? Not crappy stuff. Heidi and I have this long love-hate relationship with wearables because conventional items, the branded shirts, but you know, I was just at a meeting last week and somebody had the coolest blazer. It was Bethany from Hauk, Heidi, and she had her logo on it. And I was like, oh, where did you get that? Because that's something that I would put on with my logo and wear it with pride and really rep that brand. And
that's what we're gonna probably need to get. Yeah. Karen, I'm wearing the R today. So this is what we do first so that we don't have to buy clothes.
Right. Because we want to wear what's comfortable. And so we have the magnetic R pins, which they go on anything, a blazer, a sweater, a polo shirt, and you're repping that brand. And your messaging, you've got to make sure that your team understands that messaging. What is our promise? What is that experience? What do we want for our customers? This is all part of your brand. I forget why content is there, Heidi, but I think it's just putting that into everything you do, whether it's a brochure, whether it's your website, whatever kind of content that you have, that you're delivering and carrying that message through.
Yeah. Keeping the content in all of your articles, always state a brand, right? Yeah. Who are you? And like we said, brand's not just about color or logo. It's about, we think one of the things we really feel about Roofers Coffee Shop is that we are authentic. We are very organic, right? And we always remind ourselves of that. It's in our core values, it's in our brand, how we do that. So if you think about when you're building your businesses, what is your brand promise? What do you promise to your customers that the experience that they're gonna have? Really, really important. And then the marketing tools. So as you're putting together your plans, your budgets, and your marketing, you wanna look at a lot of different things. Digital is definitely probably the fastest, but it's not always long-term sustainable, right? You can do different things. A lot of people, a lot of contractors out there have blogs. That content helps feed the digital, right? And so that's really important. We also have a lot of contractors who do TV in their local area. They do radio in their local area. They will do the nickel ads or the little coupons. So you want to look at really, when you pick your area that you're going to have your business, look at what media is available. In Sisters, Oregon, where I live, a town of about 2,000 people, we have the Nugget, right? And the Nugget newspaper is where everybody advertises, right? If someone came to me and said, should I advertise in the newspaper? I'd be like, how big's your town? How many people read it? If it's a big, huge, you're lost. If it's a Nugget and Sisters, everybody sees it. So it just depends on your market and who you're selling to and what you're doing. And again, we can't stress enough, get involved in your community and put that in your marketing plan. How are we going to go to the county fair and have a booth? Are we going to be at the baseball games? Are we going to help the local high school's robotics team sponsor them? How are you involved? And how is that bringing customers in? And again, once you have these tools, you got to make sure your employees know what you're saying. So as they're sitting at the high school basketball game, they can say, oh, you need a roof? We do that. Yeah, we're proud of our company. Come do our roof. And cause marketing. Giving back always gives to you. It always does. And there's a lot of ways to do that through the industry and through your local. Everybody needs a roof. Everybody needs help with that. It just never ends. Wow. Karen is the queen of budgets.
Yeah, budgeting is hard because, well, one, I always want more money than my CFO would let me have. And it's a constant back and forth. And everybody asks the question, how much should I be budgeting? And there is no magic number or answer. There's averages. So for a roofing company who is wanting to maintain, maybe grow a little bit, 3 to 5% of gross annual revenues is a good average number. But if you're wanting to start a service and maintenance division maybe and introduce a new line, you may have to up that marketing budget to as much as 8 to 10%, for a short period of time. So there is no magic answer. I don't know that if budget was a part of your plan as you're putting your business together. I have a template that's in Excel that I love to use that has a main categories, on the main sheet, and then it breaks down those expenses on individual tabs and it pulls them all back to the main sheet, because that gives you a really good picture of what am I budgeting for? Well, digital marketing spend, traditional advertising, home shows, business. There's one of my customers that's doing it's the real estate journal in their town is doing an expo for building owners. So they're going to be there. So they would put that in the budget. Opportunity funds are really important to include in there. And an opportunity fund is you have your budget together, but halfway through the year, an opportunity comes up for you to get involved. Maybe it's to sponsor a sports team. Maybe it's to do a new marketing initiative. There's a new opportunity out there so that you have a little bit of a cushion. It's kind of a rainy day fund. And then you also might want to budget for outside assistance. If you aren't managing this internally, what's the cost of a consultant or a service provider going to be? Who's going to create your content? Do you need to budget for writers? Do you need to budget for website design? How about ongoing website support and maintenance? That's all usually a part of marketing. Sometimes personnel costs are included in marketing budgets. It depends. I was surprised one time to find out that was the case and that my marketing budget was actually a little bigger than I thought. It was just things being attached to it. I don't know if you remember that, Heidi.
Yeah.
And then think about ways to get help with that. Heidi mentioned earlier about manufacturers and distributors having support for contractors, and they do. If you've ever heard the term co-op advertising, cooperative advertising, if you run an ad or are running a campaign and you're featuring, say, Owens Corning, they may have some dollars. They're not going to cover the whole cost of it, but they may have some of those co-op funds that they can contribute toward that. Or maybe you're going to exhibit at an event and you need to create a trade show backdrop to have in your booth, and you're going to feature certain manufacturers on there or certain solutions. Those manufacturers may be willing to put some money up toward that. So those are some of the things to think about when putting your budget together. It is hard, and it's something that you have to evaluate too. Every so many months, look at where are you in your actual spend versus what you budgeted for. The very first time you do the budget, you might be pretty far off, and that's why you have to constantly look and readjust and reevaluate. And then once you have an idea of those costs, then the second time around you get a lot better at it.
What I was gonna say is there's a template in the book. That's why I went to grab that book. There's templates in there for budgets. So, and Karen has them also in Excel. This is, you don't want to beat yourself up over this, but it's important. And tasks and timelines are too. So once the marketing plan is done, you want to have how we're going to do it and who's going to do it. So keeping those tasks and timelines, due dates, and then reviewing it every quarter. So every quarter it should be reviewed to make sure that you're staying on track and you're getting done what you're getting done. In fact, I got to review the Alliance marketing plan here soon. Make sure I'm getting everything done. Karen, team success.
Yeah, so you to be successful, we've said before, it's a team effort. You have to have buy-in. You have to communicate with your leadership team. They need to be aware of what's going on and what you're doing. I remember it at when Heidi and I were at Eagleview, and at quarterly, we would put together a presentation for our CEO and show him everything that we just did in the last quarter and what those results were from those efforts. And we would put that together and we'd sit down and look at it and we'd say, wow, we're really doing a lot. And it's important to share that not only with the leadership team, but with the rest of your employees, your sales team, because I tell you, this happens. People go, what is marketing doing? They're just buying shirts and fun giveaways. They're not, what are they doing over there? And so people, they really think that. So by sharing, here are the programs, here's what's happening, and communications. because this happened one time to us too. We sent out an email promotion to all of our customers, but we forgot to tell our customer service people that answer the phone. So when this promotion came out, people were calling in saying, "Hey, I want the," and they went, "What are you talking about?" So
That was
employees,
not a good day.
no,
Yeah.
it was not a good day. We were in a lot of trouble, but
Yeah.
so yeah, communicate, over communicate, be consistent, and ask for feedback from your employees, from customers, and then evaluate, track those sales, track the analytics, what's working, what isn't, be willing to make changes.
It's about data. It's about understanding that data. So I feel like we've gone long.
We
Yeah.
have,
So we're gonna skip this last part because we've gone long and you have what you need for your homework, which makes me happy. I am gonna say this last book, The Power of Networking, is how to just gives you a workbook to go through and get with people in the industry, in the community, and in different places, right? That is what networking is, so like Mark said, is so important. I'm also going to say, if you do not have a LinkedIn account, you need a LinkedIn account. LinkedIn is the most powerful business networking tool for starting a business, for finding your customers that there is. On the residential side, you want Facebook, right? Facebook on residential, LinkedIn on commercial. Really important. And those are two strategies. More than happy to share that. But a lot of that is in this book, The Power of Networking, which we're going to skip because it's 4 o'clock. And so I'm going to just open it up to questions, if you have any. Oh, and sorry, before we do that. Okay, so if you hold this up, it is a window cling. So you take it off, put it on your window. I want everybody to put this in their windows at home or in their car. And it says roofing respect, which is one of our core values, roofing respect. We also look up to your roofers bumper stickers. And finally, the Roofers Coffee Shop 20-year carpenter pencil with red lead. So cool. No one has red lead in their carpenter pencils, do they, Mark? No. So these are our gifts from us to you. Questions? Yes.
Yeah, as a new company, so as a new roofing company to start a business for the very first time, how can this company create a network with other companies, maybe joining some association or industry groups?
Yes.
But it's still how they can join those groups.
Yep.
Still,
and that was part of this, the networking in there. But so you're going to find associations both within your industry, so within roofing, which I would highly recommend. You want to have that part of your marketing plan to join the NRCA, National Roofing Contractor Association. Your business, your customers are going to look for that, and they're going to say, are they a member of NRCA? And also, like here at the Carolinas Roofing Contractors Association, there is actually one in the Carolinas. But then in your own area, and Mark, which ones do you belong to in your area?
NRCA.
NRCA?
And Kelly's in Neighborhood.
And then BOMA? Do you guys do the BOMA meetings?
Not that I know.
Okay. There's going to be, it kind of depends on where your focus is, right? So if you're working with a lot of facility managers, a lot of more high-end commercial, you want to join the Facility Managers Association. If you're working with more negotiated work, smaller, directly with building owners, you want to join Building Owners Management Association. Google them. There's one for apartments. There's one for shopping centers and retail. Yeah, pick your niche and then Google and find the associations. And you want the local ones in your area because that's how you meet people.
I am a member of, being an Aggie, they call us former students, I'm a member of the Aggie Club.
Yeah.
We have monthly meetings in Fort Worth. I love it. All right. I run into so many guys who are working for general contract, and that's where quite a few of my business cards get dropped off.
Come through. Chamber of Commerce. Super important for residential. I keep pointing over here, residential, commercial, but for residential, Chamber of Commerce. You want to get out there and you want to switch business cards, get to know people, and then get involved in your HOAs, in the different communities, in the high school, in the schools. It's That's, you want to be where your customers are.
Heidi, I want to just
Yeah.
chime in there that the Associated Builders and Contractors, known as
Another
ABC, if you're commercial roofing especially, and you want to get to know GCs and other specialty contractors, that is a great organization to be a part of.
Yep. And
There's AGC, there's ABC, there's IFMA, there's EPP, BOMA, PMI, SCRAPA. I've spoken everywhere.
yeah, sounds like a Geico commercial, right? Don't they have that Geico commercial now with all the acronyms? But yeah, there's like 10 million of them. Yeah. And yeah, you want to go on, you can just obviously sign up online, right, to become a member, but that doesn't do you anything except for maybe be able to put it on your brochures. You then need to go to the meetings. You need to get involved. You need to get into leadership, you know, in the chamber, go to the mixers, find people. It's like, that's, just being a member doesn't do it. You have to be involved, and you have to enable your sales team to be involved because they're really the ones you want there. Ownership and sales.
Yeah, I mean, you know, honesty, I mean, I can share a few examples. You know, I was an owner rep. Maybe I can actually can hear it.
Yep.
And I'm sure you guys have all these examples. You know, I was an owner rep, and I used to be part of IFMA and BOMA quite a bit. And we used to have new vendors all the time come up to me and say, hey, I'm a painting contractor, I'm a general contractor. You know, do you have any work for us, or do you have any projects coming up? And as an owner rep, we always look for vendors, you know, because we want to have multiple vendors on our list. And, you know, one of the guys, I remember I gave them you know, we had a new small painting job come up in one of our corporate offices. It was about $60,000, not a big project. And they said, this is your first time and we have a project coming up. All my other vendors are busy with the bigger projects and we have a small one. Would you want to do it? They're like, sure. And, you know, they got projects within 3 months of being part of IFMA at that time. So,
That's our first stage, that's hustle.
yeah, it's hustle. It's hustle. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, it's, you know, yeah, it's hustle. So, and I have so many more on the vendor side. You know, we said yes to $50,000 job because we wanted to build a roof.
Oh, that's not it. I thought, okay, our emails, I send out our business cards and they have if Heidi, or you just put Karen at RoofersCoffeeShop. Those kind of things. Other questions? Yes.
Okay, thinking about starting a company, typically a lot of people that go off and start a company, as long as they don't sign a non-compete, are currently working in the industry for another contractor. What is kind of that time balance and that commitment of being a full-time employee for another company while also on the back of your mind thinking about starting your own company? What does that look like? And then what is that point where you know you're fully ready to pull the trigger, quit your job, and dive into the company?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I've actually been there. I've done it a couple times. And so, honesty to a point, right? But I mean, a lot of it, you don't want to jump. You want to take time in your head to build the business plan, to put it on paper, to think it through, to do all your research. But what you don't want to do is run your business and still work for somebody, right? That's a big no-no. So you want to, if you are looking to start your own, say, roofing business, you want to do all the work ahead of time and learn and get mentored. And then when you're ready, just be honest and try. My personally, and Mark may have some other thoughts on this, but I would say don't be a direct competitor. Move a couple neighborhoods over, you know, move a couple towns away. Don't be a direct competitor to your who you've worked for, because they'll come back and be mentors to you and help you. They might be a little bit upset at first, but overall, they're going to want good competitors, and roofing contractors want good competitors. They don't like lowballers. They want people who are going to do it the right way.
If you're working for a good contractor and you're totally upfront and honest with him and say, hey, look, I love working for you. I've learned so much. I'd like to get out and try this on my own. I'm going to move. I'm not going to work here. I'm going to go over to this city, even though you live here. I'm going to go over here and work. And if I need any help, do you mind if I call you and ask you for some advice? All right. If you're working for a guy who has a great reputation, he's going to be thrilled that you're going out there to do that. All right. And he may end up with a roof that he can't get to. He's going to call you because you were honest with him and upfront.
Yeah. The roofing industry is tight. So we always say, never burn a bridge. Never, because you'll come back and talk to them later.
Bridge won't be there.
And the bridge will be gone. It'll be burnt. Yeah, overall. Yeah. GCs. Other questions?
I got one for y'all. Who are the juniors, sophomores in here? All right. Will I be seeing you on his roofing competition team?
Maybe next year.
Okay,
We haven't thought about that yet. We don't think about that.
Ah,
I'm already recruiting.
yeah. You gotta watch out. Mark is.
Not this past year.
The year before.
If we keep winning it, they're gonna change the name.
Yeah, that's
What we're gonna call The Clemson A&M Award.
Ah, look out. I do want to say thank you. This is like a huge honor for us to be here and for us to be able to visit with you. We know you're the future, so thank you for having us. It's great.
All right. This should help you with the project, right? Quite a bit. So, like I said, this is the last bit of section about the business aspect of it. After spring break, we're going to come back and, revolve around all the other technicalities of the business. We have one assignment due, not next week, but the week after, okay, because next week's spring break. And I think some of us have to work during spring break. I'm just kidding. Okay, it's due in 2 weeks, okay? So be sure to look at that assignment and look at the semester project. Now we have two options. And usually I just like to throw it out to you guys. After 4 o'clock, I don't make decisions. You guys make the decisions because you have to sit here. We can either learn about how to install asphalt shingles in 10 minutes, or I can just say class released, or just say class released and talk to the guest speakers. So learn about asphalt shingles for 10-15 minutes on how they do it, or talk to the guest speakers and call it a day and cover that after spring break.
Number two.
How many say one? How many say two? You got to vote. 2 or 1? How many? 1, 2? Okay. So what we'll do is, because we had 2 guest speakers today, we did take time. So after spring break, my goal is to cover asphalt shingles and multiply systems one day, then cover single ply and coating system the other day, and then cover maintenance and safety on that 3rd week, okay? So you'll have all that technicality. We're going to go into technicality again next week or the week after. All right, look at the samples and please say hello to the guest speakers. Karen, wish you were here, but thank you again. It was great having you. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Hasta luego.